2 of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock filled a prime-time speaking spot last night, warning Democrats of attempts to suppress votes.
Elections are about the character of a country. And we must decide, again, we are the latest generation of Americans who get to decide what kind of country we want to be.
Senator Warnock praised Vice President Kamala Harris, saying her America was the same country that elected him and Jon Ossoff on January 5th, while Trump's America was that of January 6th. Atlanta News First political reporter Doug Reardon is at the United Center there in Chicago. Senator Warnock is the last Georgia voice we will hear from there, Doug.
Far from it, actually. Tonight we are going to be hearing from Jason Carter, who is, of course, the grandson of Jimmy Carter. He's going to kick off the programming. And then later in the week, we just learned today, we're going to be hearing from Republican Lieutenant Governor, former Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan of Georgia, who's been very vocal about his criticism of Trump. In fact, so much so he was at a Kamala Harris rally in Atlanta not too long ago. And that is kind of the theme of tonight. We're going to hear from a former Trump voter, a former Trump official. You get the point. But also, we got to think about what Warnock said last night, because there was some action at the state level in Georgia just hours before he took the stage, and he sent a reminder to all Americans to be vigilant of voter suppression efforts.
We are the latest generation of Americans who get to
One day after his primetime address at the DNC, Senator Raphael Warnock said he simply called this November's election like he saw it to the American people.
What I sought to do last night was to speak to the choice that's in front of us. This is a moral moment in America.
Warning of efforts nationwide, but especially in Georgia, to upend the voting system, he said Americans have to remain vigilant.
There are forces at work in our country.
Just hours before Warnock took the stage in Chicago, the Georgia State Elections Board passed a new rule that would allow counties to delay the certification of election results if they feel the need to investigate first.
It seems that there are people literally positioning themselves right now to create a pretext for not certifying an election whose outcome they don't like. We've got to all be paying attention.
Warnock, who is a pastor to Congressman John Lewis and has been a champion of the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, said he'll work to get more Democrats elected this November to get that legislation passed. As for whether there could be a cabinet position in Warnock's future,
the people of Georgia elected me to serve a full 6-year term. It took 5 doggone elections for me to get this 6-year term. I intend to serve it.
Voter suppression was also a topic of discussion at Georgia's delegation breakfast on Tuesday morning. State Party Chair and Congresswoman Nikema Williams, who holds the seat of the late John Lewis, said Democrats are doing what they can to expand access to the ballot in Georgia.
We're the first state party to have a full-time voter protection director on staff. So we are continuing to push back against this every day, whether that be in the halls of the state legislature, in the halls of Congress, or through the courts.
So we mentioned some of the Georgia names that were speaking tonight, but there are a lot of high-profile people that will be up on stage. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, as well as Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, and of course, rounding out the night is former President and First Lady Barack and Michelle Obama. We'll be here for it. We'll see a little later on, but for now, we're from the United Center in Chicago. Doug Reardon, Atlanta News First.
And Doug is in Chicago all week, bringing you special coverage of the Democratic National Convention. Tune in each night.